Aloha fam, Unity here, taking you on a LoveStream on a beautiful trail near the beautiful monastery where I live. Checking in today to share some pieces, as I often do, about the 60th gene. The 60th gene that's in both me and you. Very, very important at this time. We are a collective consciousness and we share same genes. And those genes are informing ourselves and each other. It's what keeps us connected, so that when one person advances, so too do all of us, because we are connected through the stars within us. All life connected. Such a beautiful thing. We just had a very powerful eclipse, and many may be feeling it deeply within them. I know I most certainly am myself. I am having some new and miraculous sensations in my lightship human vehicle. I am having icy cold sensation up my spine, my amygdala, over the top of the head and in the pineal. Not that I haven't had that before along this metamorphic path, and to say that it is very unique in that it is remaining constant. And I did a check-in with the higher self and Babaji. So Babaji is closely linked to the 60th gene. He activated that Siddhic state within him, and that's what allowed him to travel through time, appear in many places throughout different times. And we all have that same gene within you and me. So I had a little talk with Babaji last night on my walk, saying, please continue to show the guidance of how to activate this gene in multiple beings upon the earth. Because as beautiful Richard Rudd points out to us in his amazing Gene Keys book, in the 60th gene, he says, when this CD ignites in multiple beings, I talk about this often, the earth that we know of as Gaia and all of the cells that make her up, the Earthship Merkaba will crack, and all of the cells that make up her consciousness will move with her into another reality. Sounds like an amazing experiment, and there's probably lots of viewers in the cosmos looking on, don't you think? So I often commune with Yogananda and Babaji. They are both two favorites for me. And last night I did a little check-in for some further guidance to continue to stimulate the consciousness for the 60th gene to ignite in multiple beings. And I had a little side note question about the icy cold in the head. And Babaji said, what do you expect? You want to meet me? You want me to appear in your room? You want to do this thing together that we came to do? Well, you might want to expect some icy cold crystalline spirit to come into your head. So I am reveling in the celebration of these new continued sensations in the body, and guided to share yet another chat about the 60th gene and the Earthship Merkaba. So to paraphrase from Richard Rudd's very beautiful book, The Gene Keys, he shows the shadow of the 60th gene is rigid structure, and rigid structure strangles life. Rigid structure does not allow life to flow in the natural magical way that it is meant to. And the gifting frequency of the 60th gene is that a simple structure allows magic to flow. Hence why I do my love streams. A simple container for magic to flow. And of note, he even says in the 60th gene that one very powerful structure that can transform reality is language. And seeing as I have the oracle gene, a very special place on my chart, and the oracle is on the cutting edge. What comes through the mouth of the oracle is read and reading what is in the collective field of consciousness, emanating it back to the collective, and what the oracle says goes back into the collective field. And so if Richard says in the 60th gene that language is one of the powerful containers to transform the consciousness, then that's the intention of these love streams, to share with me and you. So something that Richard points out about the 60th gene is that when a simple structure is created, magic can flow. Life can flow. And life is magic. And we are life embodied. We are the result of life. And so all of those structures that are currently dissolving away, including money, which he points out in the 60th gene, has to go also, because it is a structure that creates limitation in the consciousness. Now, if we considered it like Monopoly money and it was a game to play, maybe there would not be so much limitation around it anyway. Borders, boundaries, passports, government's laws, all of that is dissolving away as we become sovereign, guided by our beautiful higher selves that started to connect with us officially as a collective December of 2014, when the Isis portal opened up. And that allowed for the first time for the collective to begin to experience its higher self, which is what created a few years of roller coaster rides for the collective, the higher and the lower self meeting for the first time, you could say, in a way. And so the lower self had to give the reins back to the one that's got the eagle's eye perspective, that has been here loving us all along and guiding us through. And so we made it through, because 2018 represented the completion of that process, celebration. So now let's get on with this wonderful thing called the 60th gene. Simple structure allows magic to flow. And as Richard points out in the 60th gene, he says that it's not the structure itself that matters so much. It's the energy that comes through the structure that carries the essence of a new idea. And that idea is imprinted in all of us, which Richard also points out in the 60th gene. Which is why all schools, traditional schools of wisdom, have shown this day coming, so to speak, when the Earthship Merkaba, as we know it, cracks. And as he says, and I say it all the time because I love to quote it, when the 60th CD ignites in multiple beings, the Earth will crack. And all the cells that make up her consciousness will move with her into a new reality. And how do we know this feeling? What is this thing that keeps pulling us along? It's because it's coded within we. You know, that feeling, that longing for the beloved. The true beloved is what is pulling us all along into this new reality that already exists. If we just all set our sights on it and realized we don't need to take a jackhammer to break down all those old concrete walls or get a hammer and a nail to create new ones. Come on, fam. This reality is holographic. And it is emanating from us. Please share if this is helpful. Let's get the word out to as many as we can, because we are on the eve of a special event, 111.1. Oh, did you hear that owl? Yes. A few years ago on this beautiful night, the feminine Christed vehicle ignited in my flesh, and I was taken through the 8th and 9th initiations, and I was shown the entire human blueprint. And the guidance said that I must live from a completely compassionate place from that moment forth, because I had been shown everything. And that the vehicle was not mine, the feminine Christed vehicle. It was a collective vehicle of cosmic consciousness, and I was a humble servant here to bring the teachings of the initiatic process that we are going through. So, it is, according to the coordinates, January 10th, 2019, 2 years following that event. The guidance said, do a LoveStream about this wonderful 60th gene. See, the magic of the 60th gene is that it recognizes the necessity of structure to exist in this reality of time-space. But that structure was never meant to be bogged down by red tape. Structures are meant to be transcended, and the human ego went a little bit awry with structure. Getting really all haughty and serious about it. Not recognizing that, like nature shows us, structure is always evolving. So another metaphor that I often use is that as spirit, in order to infuse ourselves into the physical realms, we required something called blueprint, like a chocolate mold, if you think of melted chocolate being poured in, and now as chocolates we have firmed ourselves up and we are ready to release the mold like a cocoon. But this time it's not just our mold, it's a collective mold, the collective consciousness. Are we ready to transcend into unity, pod consciousness, leave behind that selfishness, and become self-sustaining, self-regulating, self-generating, collectively, together, and inspire life and create beauty? Are we ready? So, if we are, like Bruce Lipton shows, the true brain of the body exists on the surface of the cells. All those little hair-like structures that inform the inside of the cell, what is going on. Well, if we took that metaphor, then that would indicate that we too are the same on this Earthship. Gaia. I think she's waiting for us to inform her consciously, which many of us have been doing for some time. Some for decades, some for their entire lifetimes, some more recently, and still all same. So, I believe and I see, and I know that I am here to say and inform that we can participate consciously to, quotation marks, even though time doesn't exist, accelerate the event. Yay! So let's play. Because if we are like those little hair-like structures on the outside of Gaia, like the little hair-like structures on the outside of the cell that Bruce Lipton really shows is truly the brain, because that is informing the cell on the inside, where to go in the cabinets of RNA to pull out the programs to activate the DNA, turn it on and off, then we would be same walking on the surface of this beautiful cell, Earthship Merkaba. So, are we ready? We're in the middle of an eclipse cycle after all. And that last eclipse had some interesting aspects to it, like, technically, if we look at how time is measured on our planet, at least according to that 24-hour clock, the eclipse ended before it started because of the date line. So we are inside of anomalies. The guidance said on the eve of the new moon eclipse event that a polar event had occurred, and this time is not a polar shift. It's the collapsing of polarity and duality, or the holding of the opposites in integrity, simultaneous. And that creates fusion within when we can hold the opposites simultaneously, neutrally, equally. And then the guidance said the hologram of good and evil was dissolved, which means that everyone on the planet now has the opportunity to step away from the old roles that they're playing and step up and listen to the navigational coordinates that say, go within. Raise our vibration, so to speak, together. Because the event is occurring, it's already occurred, it's already happened, and our experience of it depends on our participation. So we are to transcend, as we've been doing for a long time, the old ways we did things, hence why all the structures and all the plans of how things would have been falling apart and dematerializing for some very long time. That is to help guide us and direct us back to the inner voice within us that has been calling us home, whispering our name. And the falling part of all of those things that we held on to or that we were expecting to come to fruition is really a beautiful thing. To take us to the inner realm of zero, neutral, neutrality, 0 point, free, free, free energy. And as a collective holds this beautiful field intact, the Earthship Merkaba will crack. So, my invitation is to go into meditation collectively in love, neutrality, and invite the higher self to turn that 60th CD on, because, once again, I'll repeat it as Richard so beautifully says, when the 60th CD begins to ignite in multiple beings. So let's do it. Go within, asserting our authority upon the field of the blackness of space by saying we are ready, and in the meantime don't stop and hang around waiting for something to happen. That's the downfall. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other, simple steps creating containers for the new earth. Just keep them simple. If they are not fun, they are too complicated, they are in a lower vibration, step back from the computer or whatever it is we're doing and regroup by connecting within and maintaining that connection with source consciousness, which is guiding and loving. And we are vibrating, and here is the formation we are creating by doing this together, consciously, because it's fun. Why wouldn't we? And because it assists all life on the planet, even those who may be a little bit confused about what's going on. That's okay. We're all one love. The kamikaze mission was no one left behind, and we came back for that one. We all go together. They were all just roles in the play for learning. Anyway. So, what was I going to say? It was a good one. It's a good piece. Yes. The formation that we are forming by going in from a place of love and neutral and activating. Love is the 35th gene. And what love really is neutral. It's actually being able to hold the polarities simultaneously, equally neutral. That's true love. Because that true love brings us into alignment with 13 strands of DNA. Not many people talk about 13. I'm not sure why. Everyone talks about 12. I talk about 13. 13th dimension, 13 frequencies of the star knowledge bundles. Unity, actually. Merkaba. So, yes, what we are doing is just like the opera singer who perfects that note. What is she doing? She is actually getting her voice, and Richard talks about the voice, the sound, language, and the 60th gene. She is getting her voice fully aligned with the structure of the crystalline nature of the glass. And when she does, what happens to the crystal glass? It cracks. That's what we are doing by coming into a resonant frequency. That means collapsing the polarities, the opposites within ourselves. And then, in that place of stillness, in our meditation, go within and say, all right, I'm ready, as a hair-like structure on the outside of the cell that Bruce Lipton talks about, that we are on the outside of Gaia. Let's all inform her, because we are her feedback loop. Let's go, okay, 60th gene activation time. Yay. We're ready, Miss Gaia. We're ready to collectively step into that new world that we have been creating together through our highest and wholest achievements together and within ourselves. Hi. There's a dog coming along.
He wants to say hi.
Oh, how wonderful. We have a dog coming to say hi. Hi, Fred. Hi. Here, we'll get you in video. That's okay. Hi. Say hi to everyone. He's giving a thumbs up. What's his name? What is his name? Kai Hui. Nice to meet you, Kai Hui. Oh, he's very aware.
Yes.
Have a nice walk. Aloha. Kai Hui. Kai Hui gave us the thumbs up. It smells like he's been eating a little bit of horse poo. He gave me a nice kiss. Well, Kai Hui is a dog, and we all know that's God spelled backwards, so I think we just got the 2 thumbs up from God and dogs. God bless the dogs. All right, it's getting a little bit dark on this video, so the forest canopy above us. Ooh. Oops. Yeah, said I had to rotate my screen back. So let's play around with this and see what we can do to collectively activate. The owl agrees. The 60 is seeding within us all, because as Richard says, when the 60 is seeding, ignites in multiple beings. And he says, the 60th CD is all about breaking the laws of form. Evolution demands time, and localization demands space, is what he says. So we are transcending time and gravity through this law and this act. Hi, he came back to be on the LoveStream. Hi, Taihui. This is so cute. Did he run away? Huh? Hi.
Well, he usually goes to the bathroom in the forest, but he doesn't have to go. So I let him off.
I see. Well, very nice to see you again.
Sorry.
No worries.
Come on. Hi, Louie.
Okay. Storage almost full. All right. So, Taihui came to say hello again. So, yes, this 60th gene is about breaking the laws of gravity and time. And I would much rather come to visit my friends by closing my eyes and appearing before them than getting on another airplane that burns fossil fuels and all those things, wouldn't you? See, the coding is within us if we just understand how to activate it and be still enough to do it. Yes, time to free the energy of the consciousness of the Earthship Gaia and all of we. And I invite you all to Pleiades for Pleiadian blue spirulina popcorn and a round of Pleiadian blue spirulina on me. So let's do this thing. All right. I love you all so deeply. If this love stream is helpful in any way, please share it in all of your networks. I feel it's an important one. Yes. This kind of knowledge is power. True power, not force. Force is the shadow of the 60th gene of rigid containers. I love you. And we love we. And Tai Hui loves you too. Tai Hui loves we. We love Tai Hui. All right. Bless, love, wholeness, and aloha.